Good morning. Today we are doing parts for Bosch Home Appliance, all 1mm stainless. Here we have the machine, very simple. You have the high friction belt that can also hold a very small part. You have your cross belts with the grinding elements which do the edge rounding. You have two of those, one in the back, one in the front. The front one grinding right to left and the back one grinding left to right. It is very simple to take them out. You just untension it. I'll send you a video about that that shows the whole process. The machine in itself has very simple controls where you turn the cross belt on, where you turn the conveyor belt on, where you determine the cross belt speed. You pick the conveyor belt speed, you adjust for the thickness of the material, and you adjust for the wear and tear in your belt to make pressure on top of the workpiece. We have set this already, 1mm for the machine. These are worn a little bit in. All we have to do at this point is we are closing up and we are turning the machine on. You always want to run your part at an angle. We have a couple of different parts. These, for example, here have splatter on them. This machine will not necessarily remove the splatter on the surface, it will just round the edges. We have already run one part. This was run at about 2 feet a minute, which will give you approximately 240 parts per hour, and you see the edges are very nice, nobody can cut themselves, but you have a few remaining splatters on there. If this doesn't concern you, just the cross belt machine would be alright. Later on we will also run a few parts on a different machine where we will show you what that looks like if you first grind this off with a white belt sander and then edge round it with a roller. But you could also just put a white belt unit in front of the cross belt unit. So these parts we're going to put aside, we're going to use that later on. Here we start. We had some shipping damage on the corners, and you will see basically where we flattened those corners. It doesn't look awful pretty, but it doesn't have anything to do with the process. When you put your parts in, you always want to put them in at an angle where pretty much all the edges are at an angle to the cross belt. So you don't want to put it in parallel. Even though with this part you could almost put it in this way, because then only this edge would have a little bit less of a exposure. Even if you put it in straight, the edges would be so that you can't cut yourself. Right? So, now we're going to let that go. Right now we have the speed set to about 3 feet a minute. And we will see what that part looks like when it comes out. But we will right away feed another part behind it. You can make different shapes. That's perfectly okay. And if there are slight variations in thickness, that's okay too. When you place your parts, you want to have some spacing in between 2 to 3 inches so that the brushes can reasonably recover before they hit the next edge. Then, as the part comes out, you want to check it that it has a little bit of warmth. You can see the white lines here right now. We have no sharpness left in it. You can rub over it hard. You have a little bit of debris from the conveyor belt on it, but not bad at all. And the more you fill the table, the easier this will go. And this is basically your finished part. You can see from the shadow that we removed some material, right? And but we removed the mainly material from the edges, not from the surface. Excellent part. I think you will be very pleased with those results. Next, we will mark these now. Here. So this was run at about 3 feet per minute. Now, we will give you a similar result. Those parts here. We will pick up the speed a little bit to about 4 feet. 4.5 feet. And we'll see what those results. See, now the cart already did a little faster. And we will feed that right away. Go all the way to the edge of the machine, that's perfectly alright. So I'll grab my pen. Comes out. So this is about 4 feet per minute. And those edges are still good where you wouldn't cut yourself. They have a little bit less slag removal on the small holes. That's something that you may want to do manually if you don't want to go to a white belt machine, which for these parts I wouldn't recommend at all. It was more the one smaller hole. And also this here is very good, all the edges, inside and outside, so that you will not cut yourself. A very good surface condition. It brightens up the surface. It removes very little material from the surface. It's just the stock spread that brightens it. You will not remove scratches and so forth. It's probably not critical on the inside of the part. So now we'll move to 5 feet a minute. So that you will see that at 5 feet a minute, that could also already be a process that's a little bit slow. Here we again sample of the edge damage. And also this larger part, we'll always put it in at an angle as much as we can on the 44-inch machine. The machine is also available in 64-inch. And on the video you can basically see how fast it pulls those parts in and how many parts an hour you will be doing at low speed, simply by gauging from when the tip enters the machine until the tail goes into it as well. These parts should be running at about 70, 80, 90 an hour. So, and even these edges they are now starting to be a little bit crisper, but they are still so, if your only criteria is that you don't cut yourself, that would still be fully sufficient. So this would be at 5 feet per minute. A little bit more, actually. Going more like 5.5 feet. So, and now the last part, we are going to run at 6 feet per minute. I have to pull that out a little bit. Careful, you do not want to go over the edges, obviously, with your corner. Now we have significantly more speed. That is now, for this large part, about 120. And you need to be the judge of these edges ultimately, but again, I think the risk of injury is very low. Of course, the faster you run with those parts, the more economic you are in terms of abrasive, because the abrasive consumption is a function of hourly. In those parts, the abrasive consumption is going to be very low because you have large surfaces, you don't have a lot of perforation and things like that. And the abrasive consumption in the end is a factor of the linear feet of edge that you run through the machine. Thank you very much.